Hi there everyone and welcome to Get Strumming. Now today I'm going to show you how to restring a baritone ukulele. But before I do, please remember to subscribe, to comment and to like. Thanks very much. Okay then, well I've been given this ukulele by a friend of mine to restring. It's baritone, beautiful ukulele this. It's already lost one string. So the first job I need to do is to remove all the other strings. Now what I'm going to need for this job is a string winder. They're really cheap and they're really handy. Now you tend to use them for guitars, but you can use them for ukuleles as well. And as I say, they're quite cheap to buy and they just make life a lot easier when you're trying to take the strings off and also to tighten the strings up again. Next up, we've got the electronic tuner. Always a useful piece of kit when you're restringing an instrument. You want to get it tuned up right. And I've also got some string cutters which I use. Sometimes I probably won't need them for this, but sometimes they come in handy just to chop off any of the excess bits of string. And last but not least, I've got a packet of Aquila strings for this ukulele. Now bear in mind, when you're buying strings for a ukulele, they've got to be DGBE strings. We're not tuning the baritone up to the same pitch as we would with a soprano, a concert or a tenor ukulele. We're going to be using slightly thicker strings because obviously the tuning is the same as the top 4 strings of a guitar. So on a guitar you've got E, A, D, G, B, E, so that's going down there, E, A, D, G, B, E, and on a baritone uke, obviously you don't have the bottom E and A strings, so it just goes D, G, B, E. So it's exactly the same tuning as the top 4 strings of a guitar. Now, if you are a guitar player and you're wanting to change to a ukulele, the baritone ukulele is really good because in effect you're playing all the same chord shapes that you would on a guitar, on a normal 6-string guitar, apart from obviously the bottom 2 strings that are missing. But a D shape on a baritone ukulele is exactly the same as a D shape on the guitar. So I'll come to that a little bit later anyway. First of all, let's get all these strings off this ukulele. Okay then, so what I'm going to do now is just attach this onto the tuning pegs, and I'm just going to turn clockwise now just to slacken the strings off. Now you can get some strings that are fluorocarbon. They're a little bit thinner and a little bit stronger, but these are just normal run-of-the-mill ukulele strings. But yeah, fluorocarbon strings are an option, but not today. I'll just get rid of this bit here, that's it. When you're also loosening strings as well and getting rid of them, disposing of them, make sure you don't leave any lying on the ground, on your carpet, because they tend to get stuck in your vacuum cleaner and they're a little bit difficult to shift. So just might be something you just want to bear in mind for future reference. Okay, we got rid of that one. And just untie the bit down here. There we go, I'll get rid of that. Now obviously this side I'm going to be turning, from the way I'm looking at it, I'm going to be turning it anti-clockwise, the tuning peg. There we go. Really slackening these off nicely now, that's it. You can just unwind the rest by hand. There we go. That's it. And one more to go. So again, just anti-clockwise. Bear in mind I'm restringing a right-handed ukulele, but at some point I will restring a left-handed uke just as a tutorial for anybody that's out there that's a left-handed player. because in the group that I teach, we do have 3 or 4 lefties, left-handed players, so it's always an idea wherever possible just to try and be as inclusive as possible. So, you know, if I can get to show people chords playing this way rather than that way, it really comes in. And I don't think left-handers should feel out of the loop with what we're doing, so I always try and include them as best as I can. Now, here we go. So these are the Aquila strings. And just so we've got, first string is ready. Yeah, now this is another important thing. Is just to know which strings are which. Now, obviously the first string, well, I say obviously, but it isn't obvious. The first string is actually the string that's closest to the ground. So that's the first, then your second, then your third, and then your fourth string is the string that's closest to your face. So whenever you see strings labelled on the back of the string packet, and it says first string, red colour, like in this case, the first string is the string that's furthest away from you, that's closest to the floor. So it's important to remember that. Okay, right, what we're going to do now then, I'm just going to double check which is the low one. Right, that's the white. Okay, fourth string is the white, so that means it's this one here. So I'll just take this out. There we go. Now, so what we're aiming to do now, this is the bottom string, or the fourth string. So what I'm going to do is feed it through. Now, for those of you that don't know, this here is the bridge. This white piece here is the saddle. Now we're going to go under the bridge, like so, and leave probably about 2.5 inches that's poking out through the bottom, just like that. So I'm going to bring this up to the camera so you can see properly. So there you go. I've threaded the string through the hole on the bridge, and I've left about 2.5 inches there that's slack. So what I'm now going to do, whoops, I'm just going to feed this. So I'm feeding the string under the main length of string that's hanging over the uke. I'm going underground, overground. So I'm going under the string there, and then I'm going to go under again, under the loop that is, and then I'm going to go under the loop again, and then I'm going to tie it like so. And then we've got a little bit of string, if you look now, got a little bit of string poking out. Now don't worry about that, because what you're going to do is feed that under the subsequent strings, so it makes it more tidy. So there we go. So I've tied that up like so, and now what I'm going to do is, obviously I'll point it the right way, we're going to be going onto the bottom left tuner here. So that's where you want to be tying your fourth string. So I'm just being careful, because obviously there's a strap here, so I don't want to thread the string under the strap. You want to make sure it just goes over the strap like that. And then what I'm going to do is thread it through like so. Now what I need to do now is make sure that there's about 2 fingers worth, 2 fingers on end like that. Put your index and middle finger together, and then just put them under the string on the 2nd fret like that, and then just pull the string tight. And that's how much kind of slack you want to give yourself when you're restringing. So 2 fingers worth. I'll just do that so you can see it. So what I'm doing is this, look, 2 fingers worth there, and you've got enough slack there. Okay then, so we'll leave it at that. Then what we're going to do now is hold the string in place like so. And for now I'm just going to tune it up by hand, but in a minute I'll probably use the winder. And what I'm going to do now is just hold the string here, just against the headstock. So this is the headstock, obviously. I'm just going to hold it in place. So what's going to happen is, as I'm tuning up, and I'm tuning the pegs on this side of the uke, I'm tuning upwards, that's anti-clockwise. So from my point of view, I'm twisting this way, anti-clockwise. And I'm making sure that the next, as I'm restringing, and again, I'm just going to make sure that this strap doesn't get in the way. So, whoops, there we go, that's better. I'm making sure, obviously, that the string sits perfectly in the groove in the nut. This white piece here is the nut. And if you look carefully, there are little grooves for the strings to sit in. So I've made sure that the string's sitting in the groove. And also when I'm tuning up, I'm just holding the string very, very carefully, just so that each revolution of the string sits under one another, so so there's no chance of the string falling off the tuning head. Here we go. So what I'm going to do now is use the winder. Make life easy. There we go. That's somewhere where it should be. You all right, Bertie? That's Bertie. He's my helper. So there we go. We've got the bottom string. So obviously I'm going to give them a tune up as we go on, once all the strings are on. So next up we've got, and it should be, so that's the D string that's on. So now we should be looking at the third string, which is the green, and that's the G. Okay, so again, just unravel the string. So what I'm going to do now, again, I'll show you again. So I'm going to poke the string under, through the little hole here. And don't forget, you've got 2.5 inches that you want to leave as slack. Then bring the string around and then poke it under the main body of string that you've got leading down to the other end of the U. So under there, then you go through the loop, under the loop once, and then over again, and then through the loop again. Now, as I mentioned before, you should have some string left over. Now, as I mentioned, what I was going to do was thread this bit of excess string under the loop that I've made for the G string. So here we go, and then we tie that down, and that is in place. And of course, I'm going to do the same with the G string. I'm going to poke that under next bit of string. So there we go. I'll just show you close up. So this is the kind of thing that I'm doing here. Good. Okay. So again, what I'm doing now is I'm going to thread this through the next winder on this side. There we are. It's looking good, this now. Don't forget, we need 2 fingers worth of excess string. So there we go. That's okay as it is there. And then what I'm going to do now is make sure that that string, and the string has always got to be the inside of the winder, so the string should never be at this side, on the outside of the winders. They should always come on the inside of the headstock like that. So I'm going to now hold this string in place, again tuning upwards anti-clockwise. There we are. So I'm holding the string now, as I mentioned before, so that the subsequent revolutions of the string they'll coil themselves up underneath the little hole. So I'll just show you here very closely. So I'm just tuning up, ensuring that all the subsequent winds of the string end up going under the hole, so the string can't slip off the tuner. There we go. Okay, so that's the first two strings that are on. Now obviously you can see all this bit of string that's flapping around. Now I'll show you what to do with those a little bit later, but for the time being, let's just crack on with getting the rest of these strings on. So the next up we've got number 2, which is a blue. So the second string is the B string. So let's have a look. There we go, and this is the blue, yeah, so this is the B. So as I mentioned, on a normal, like a standard soprano concert or tenor ukulele, the strings that we'd be looking at is G, C, E, A. Whereas on this one, because it's a baritone, it's D, G, B, E. So those are the strings we're looking at. So again, I'm going to stick this through here, 2.5 inches, feed under this bit of string that I've got here in my hand, then under again, and then one more time. So you're, in effect, you're looping the string twice. And again, as I did before, I'm going to put this bit of excess string from the G just underneath the coil of the B. So it just means that it tidies everything up quite nicely. There we go. So again, I'm going to go through here. There we are, that's great. And now this time, obviously, what I need to do, again, making sure that we've got 2 fingers worth of slack underneath. There we go, so that should be okay. And then I'm going to hold that in place as I have been doing. But I'm going to be turning clockwise, sorry, this time. So for the tuning heads that are on the other side to me, the side closest to the ground, you've got to tune anti-clockwise. And again, I'm holding the string in place so we get some nice coils underneath the hole where the string's poking out of just here. And as I say, not only does it stop the string from falling off the end of the tuning peg here, but it also locks it into place, which is important for keeping your strings in tune. There we go, and I'll just make sure it's on the correct little groove on the nut there. I think somewhere, looking somewhere, I think I'll use the winder actually, because it's taking a little while, so I might as well use this. Dooby-dooby-doo. There. 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 That's good enough for now. And then we, like I say, you can give it a really good tune up once you've got all the strings on. Good, so we're looking at the last bit of string now, which is the E string. And again, once again, feed it through the bottom there like that. Then the string, you've got about, like I say, 2.5 inches should do it really. You can, if you want to leave a bit more, you can do. So that's going to go under the string now. Then I'm going to go through the loop once and twice. There we go. That's it, that's got it. Not forgetting to loop under the residual string from the B string there. That's it, and you can lock that into place. What I'll do, probably just get the clippers and just tidy them up at the end there. Alrighty, let's have a look. Quite therapeutic, you know, this restringing an instrument. And it's great once you've done it and the strings are all in tune, and it's nothing like having a nice fresh pack of strings on ukulele or your guitar for that matter. Okay, and now I've just got to check where the hole is. Let's have a look. Here we go. It's better. I was untuning the other string. Always watch out for which tuning peg you're using. So here we go. We've got another 2 fingers worth of slack there. Hold that into place and then start tuning, as I mentioned before, clockwise on this side. And then we're getting somewhere like business. Here we are. Yeah, tuning up. So I'm just going to give you a close-up in a minute as to what the strings should look like. There we go. I'll just make sure that that's on the saddle there. Always make sure that your strings are traversing the saddle and the nut, because if they fall off the groove of the saddle and the nut, then obviously they won't be making the sound that you want them to. Okay. Ba, 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 ba. Talk amongst yourselves. There we are. I'll get the winder here on the job. There we are. Wind, 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 wind. Okay, so all the strings are on now. So what I need to do is give them a good tune up. Now what you might want to do is just to get rid of some of the slack in the string, because obviously these are new strings, so you might just want to gently run your thumb and first finger up the string, just like this. Just give it a little bit of a tweak, not too much, because you don't want to bend the string so it loses its kind of toughness, and then you just kind of, with if you bend the string, you'll damage it, and it'll end up like being like a rubber band. So when you pluck the string, it'll go dong, and it'll lose its main body. So, but just to give them a little bit of a tweak, just to get rid of any slack that's in. And don't worry if your strings are going out of tune for the first few days, because they will kind of slip, and you'll have to keep tuning them up. It always happens with new strings. All right, good. So let's get this tuner on now. Now, with this being a baritone, you might want to put the your tuning mode onto guitar. We'll just see. Normally when you're tuning a ukulele, these tuners quite often have like violin, ukulele, guitar options. So I'd suggest putting it on ukulele option, but sometimes the baritone uke is tuned to the top 4 strings of a guitar. Might be an idea to put it on a guitar setting. So, well, this is working, so we're tuning this to a D. There we go. So that's, as you can see now, is that in tune? Just give it another tweak. There we go. It'll take a while to get them in. There we go, that's in tune. So that's the D. Now we're going to tune this to a G. There we go, it's a bit sharp. say, I'll need doing again in a minute. Ooh, really flat. Here we go. Here's the B. Now this one's showing a little bit of resistance here. Trouble with that, so it's going to keep slipping. As I say, just give it a little tiny bit of a tweak just to get rid of the slack. And then here's the E. So this is something like what it should sound like. I'll just keep tweaking this B. So that's got it sounding something like. Obviously, I'm going to leave the tuner on here because I'm going to need to give it another tune in a second. Now, obviously, what we need to know now is what to do with these bits of residual string. Now, if you wanted to, you could actually coil them up, and that means that if you get a break, particularly down at the bottom end, then it means you've still got plenty of spare string that you can use and retie at the bottom, and it means that you don't have to throw the strings away, you can actually reuse them. Or if you don't like bits of coiled string or even loose string like this, you can chop the ends off, which, to be honest, this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to chop the strings off here at the bottom end. So there we go. Just get rid of that. All the little bits of loose string, obviously, we don't need. There we go, that's great. And I will pick those up, I do promise. And then we'll do the same here at the top. Just make it all tidy. There we are. Click, 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 and we will dispose of them like so. Alright, so there's always one string that really causes you a bit of grief. There we go, that is a baritone ukulele, all restrung and sounding really cool. Now, as I mentioned before, because they're new strings, they're going to have to acclimatise, and especially if your ukulele is in a room where the temperature can change throughout the day, you'll find that the strings obviously can get sharper or flatter depending on the temperature. And in this uke, it's just the B here that's going to have to keep getting tweaked, I think. There we go. that's it. One baritone ukulele all tuned up nicely. So don't forget, if you want to check out more ukulele tutorials, then join Get Strumming, and also check out the Patreon as well. The Patreon will lead you to loads of different features that you can't find on the normal YouTube channel, and it's really worth checking into, and it will help you become a much better ukulele player. Well, thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you again soon for more Get Strumming tutorials. Take care for now. Bye bye.